Hi and welcome to our first video coach talk, where we're going to explore various topics and answer your questions to help you get more out of your running and training.
Exactly.
Yeah, and today's first topic is a question that was asked of me, is what's the purpose of each run that we do?
Yes, so we decided to talk about that, but we're not just talking about each run in the week, we're also going to talk about each day of the week, because there are runs, but then there are also rest days,
Yeah, good distinction.
which are very important. Rest days are part of the training, and we'll start there with rest days.
Perfect.
So what are rest days for, Michael?
Rest days are interesting because when I first started training, I didn't take rest days seriously at all. I thought they were kind of a lazy day, to be honest. Like, that wasn't going to get me towards my goal, having a rest day. I thought I had to train every day to reach my goal. And so I learnt the importance of rest days and can now tell the benefit of having rest days. For me, they're very much a case of not so much, well, I guess they're part recovery from the work that I've already done, but also part preparation for the work that I'm going to do. So it's kind of a bit of both that I use them for. And without them, I couldn't continue the amount of training I do.
Right. So rest days become important because you're preparing yourself for the training ahead.
Yeah.
By giving yourself enough time to recover from the previous training.
Yeah.
And getting yourself ready for what's next.
Yeah.
So rest days are pretty important. And next on the list we have active recovery runs, because some of you have active recovery runs in your training plans. Some people don't. But what's the purpose of an active recovery run?
Yeah, for me they're a continuation of the mileage for the week and continuing getting time on the legs, but without adding the additional stress to the body. So it's a way of sort of introducing some, I guess, recovery and downtime for the body to get ready for the next intense training period, but also keeping up the time on the legs and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So for those of you who are training more or have longer distance goals, or who are a bit more experienced, if you want to get more mileage in a week, you will likely have active recovery runs.
Yeah.
It's going back to that 80-20 rule that I've talked about before.
Yeah.
But it's that 80% where you want to keep moving, but you don't want to be stressing your body. You're not doing high intensity training. You're taking it easy and giving yourself time to recover from training. And again, prepare yourself for the more intense runs that are coming up in the training.
Yeah.
And then next we have
interval and hill training. So currently in the season now, we're in the midst of doing hill training now. And when I first started, I wasn't doing a lot of this various type of training. I was doing a lot of just straight running on the roads without much variation. So I saw a big improvement in my results and times and speed as a result of this different type of training.
Yeah, it's definitely one way to mix up your training, which you always want to do. Have a variety of training runs in your training. The training goal here is also strength and speed when you're doing an interval training. Interval training, hill training is also interval training. And for those of you who participate in hill training would know it's based on intervals of stopping and going. So yes, the training goal there is strength and speed. For those of you who are training for goals such as marathon, half marathon, even dam to dam, it's helping you get stronger. And when your body is stronger, you're better prepared for more mileage and for more training up ahead. So your training load's going to get heavier by doing those interval and hill training runs. You're going to get stronger and be better prepared for doing more and more down the road.
Yeah, and they're also much higher intensity than the long, slow runs, for example, or your active recovery runs. You will work harder during those periods.
And that's part of that 20%, or a good portion of it is part of that 20% of the very quality training that you're going to be doing. Yeah. It's different from the rest or the active recovery runs. And what's next?
And then the tempo runs. Again, another variation to just a normal set pace run. These tempo runs are quicker, faster. For me, they are faster than my race pace, but then a much shorter distance. But again, another high intensity workout where I'm working a lot harder, but for a shorter period of time. And tempo for me is really about building the speed,
Yes.
getting the speed up.
And stamina.
And stamina, yeah.
Being able to hold that speed for longer periods of time.
Yeah.
And not just short bursts like the interval training.
Correct, yeah. And you'll see as the program progresses that those tempo runs get longer and longer as you build more strength and endurance.
Right. Yeah, so with tempo runs, we're building stamina, different from interval runs where we're focusing on strength and speed. You're also gaining strength and speed with the tempo runs, and you're also working on your stamina with the interval training runs. But each run has a specific goal, and that's the goal of those tempo runs, is to get you used to holding that intensity for longer periods of time.
Yeah, correct.
And
then lastly, the long slow run, which we all do if you're following the House of Running program on a Saturday. We all meet on the Saturday and do our long slow runs. For me, this was interesting because I used to think my long slow run meant my race pace run, and I would go out and run them at what I thought my race pace should be until I learnt what the real goal of that run was, which was to get time on the legs and to increase my endurance and stuff, and not run full out at race pace every week.
Yes, the long slow runs. We're endurance training. We're training our endurance. We're training to be able to stay longer on our legs and not tire.
Yeah.
Right? And when we go faster, it changes the training goal a little bit. Do you know something about that? About what that run becomes when we speed up a long slow run and we actually train, like you were saying, at your race pace?
Like a race pace run, yeah.
Because we're no longer endurance training per se. We're no longer trying to work on the run no longer has the same purpose as it would when you're training with your race pace.
Yeah, I think for me I was missing the word slow.
Yeah.
When I was reading those.
Yeah, so it definitely does change the run when it becomes a long, fast run. You're racing, in a sense. You're racing. And racing every weekend is not helping. It will actually tire you out a lot quicker. And when you train slowly, you're working on training a different energy zone.
Yeah.
So you're working on training your body to burn fat as fuel so that you can last longer. Because with burning fat as fuel, you can run for many more hours than you could if you were just running on some of the other fuel systems that we have, and we're not going to go into that. But that is the purpose of the long, slow run.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe we can sum that up. So rest days are for recovery.
Yeah.
Rest days are for recovery and for preparing you to go forward and do more active recovery runs.
Yeah, again, it's part of your recovery, but also continuing to get time on the legs.
Exactly. Interval training, hill training.
Again, is mixing it up, working on your strength and your speed.
Exactly. Tempo runs.
Again, speed, working on endurance.
Stamina.
Yeah.
Long, slow runs.
Yeah, getting the mileage. Getting the endurance, time on the legs.
Time on the legs.
Yeah.
And that's why we do it. And I like to say again, to ask yourself, what's the training goal before you go out and train that day or not train. When it says rest and you decide to stay home and rest and to not train that day, it's a good reminder to say, what's the goal of this day? And if you can see that you have rest and you're like, what's the goal of today? In my training program, the goal of today is to recover from the harder workouts and to prepare yourself for the future workouts. And if you can ask yourself that question, I think the training program starts to make a lot more sense and you will follow it a lot better.
Yeah,
maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe you experienced that?
Have definitely experienced that firsthand.
All right. Well,
awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And remember, if you've got any questions, let us know. Leave us a comment or send us an email and we'll be happy to answer your questions.
Happy training!